Morning, friends. This is Chaplain Charles Riffey again here at VCU Health and Massey Cancer Center as we continue our particular series on ideas of survivorship and spirituality practices, ways that we can connect ourselves to things that are meaningful, things that build greater resilience, and topics that actually come up either during or post-treatment within the journeys of individuals that have shared with me and what research has told us about things that affect us either from a psychological, psychosocial, emotional, and spiritual manner. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of relationships, connectivity, building connections, reconnecting, either creating something new or trying to claim and reestablish something that has been before that was meaningful. And the reason that I bring this up today, because I talked about this earlier back in the fall of 2021, was some things that I think we often take for granted. And that is the idea that when any kind of transition occurs, sometimes we mistakenly think that things go back to the way they were, or things return to normal. But one of the best things of wisdom that was passed on to me a couple of years ago was that when we meet people or we create connections, we might know them for a reason, we may know them for a season, we may know them for a lifetime. And in our self-care and our ability to connect to things that bring meaning to us, that help us to find resiliency and fulfillment, they change. And we have to be an active participant in that journey, especially amid transition in life, whether the transitions bring on different stressors or whether they bring intense and immense joy. So today, I'm going to share a couple of things, but it's stemmed primarily in those that I've talked with and a study that I am going to re-talk about by Philip and Merluzzi, and it's called Psychosocial Issues in Post-Treatment Cancer Survivors: Desire for Support and Challenges in Identifying Individuals in Need. Ultimately, one of the aspects that came up for me and that I have heard from many individuals as I've tried to connect with them post-treatment is the idea of interpersonal isolation and communal isolation. Even though treatment has ended, the ability to have those one-on-ones with individuals who are actually part of their team or family members or friends or communities such as a church or a synagogue, they're not what they were either before diagnosis or even during treatment. And one of the unspoken rules that's actually incorrect is that there's typically a false perception by many people that when somebody completes treatment, the need is not there anymore. And it is very hard, even if the meaningful nature or the loving nature of another person is still with that person, they don't necessarily know or think to know to continue and make those connections. So how do we as individuals, whether we are patients, former patients, or families, utilize what is in ourselves to find those things that are meaningful and connect in them in a very tangible, material, and new way? And I wish to speak about three different things. One of those is the reality that whether we're introverts or whether we're extroverts, whether we love to be outside in nature and very active, or whether we are very interiorly motivated, like reading a good book, we are storybook people. We learn by experiencing life, whether it is through the love of an animal or an experience in hiking. We're talking to an individual, but we are storybook people. And we need those interactions in order to build up and to maintain a sense of ourselves. And there are three different ways, very easy, ways that you can actively, on your own terms, as you feel motivated, take it into your own grasp and control to try to connect with other individuals in a new kind of way that is very tangible. The first one is to do something that I don't think we do much anymore: writing notes. This is my pen. I need a new ink cartridge. These are all three different particular types of notes. You wouldn't believe how many times I'm written a note by somebody and I keep it. This one here has been written by a loving individual at a former church that I had been to when I was transitioning. They left me a note recognizing the hardship of any kind of change, but also their support and their love during that time. I've kept this for over 5 years. And whenever we are able to make a connection, it could be virtually, but I would actually suggest the real tangible and hard practice of doing what we've done for a very long time, using snail mail. finding a tangible written card, thinking about what you want to write and writing it intently. You could be sharing something that is personal to you, how you have felt close to an individual, and how you wish to continue that relationship. Maybe they could write you a card back. Maybe it could say, I would really benefit from this friendship if we connected in similar ways. A very tangible way of doing this, when you receive something back, I have individuals in the men's support group that actually will tape cards on their door frame so that whenever they're walking in there, they have a real fleshy reminder that they are connected to individuals. It can be very hard, especially post-treatment, trying to figure out, well, how much and how quick is too quick to be able to get back outside and be with individuals. Another aspect here is to join a support group or to do something creative with a small group of individuals. This is one of the things that my daughters did, and it's one of those wonderful gel paints and window art that you can stick to the window, but butterflies. There are so many individuals that I've met during this time who talked about gardening as a love of theirs, and they felt separated from that because of not wanting to get into the dirt, not wanting to affect the immune system. And because of that, there was a sense of isolation from being able to cultivate new life, to be able to just simply be outside and enjoy nature in a particular kind of way. Well, in post-treatment, you may find yourself frustrated that that return may be more delayed than you thought because you're listening to your body and your body is changing and you're slowly getting to that place to where you're wanting to take next steps. Plan in real ways how you can be able to connect in a different way. If you can't go outside in nature, try to create something that is tangible that you can be in your home, taking on a new particular practice. It could be painting, it could be surrounding yourself with fiber arts and things of that nature. It could be being able to watch documentaries that remind you of a place or add things to your bucket list like Planet Earth. I know that that's been going on for a long time ago, but it is one of the most striking things that connects us to how much we love our world. Being able to actively just start taking steps in that direction so that you can reclaim it in new and meaningful ways. And lastly, I'm going to hold up my particular book from my spiritual tradition, which is the Christian Bible. And so many individuals that I have met, especially during the time of COVID, felt that there was no possible way amid cancer, amid not knowing how strong their immune system was at the time, they were not able to physically go into a building and trying to wrestle with the idea is that, well, they didn't think the building was necessarily the most important thing, but the people, the interactions, the smells, the sights, the camaraderie was very important. And I found resilience in many of these individuals by finding ways to either connect through watching it on TV, to have services virtually online, to be able to do Bible studies or things of that nature with groups of people that they never knew about, but it was also virtual and connecting with people all over the world. These resources actually exist, but I would suggest something more. If you feel comfortable talking to a person that might be a leader, whether in a place of worship or a place of meeting, if you were part of a book club before, being able to connect with certain individuals that were a member of your former and current communities and highlighting what it is that you value about their life in connection to you and what you value about what is going on in the midst of that activity, whether it is a secular activity, whether it is a spiritual or religious activity. People, stories help us to grow and to feel more whole. You could ask a pastor or a priest or a rabbi or a imam, a guru that you know, that individually coming and to meet on specific terms that will allow you to protect yourself and set up boundaries could be a point of great connection. Some would want communion to be brought to their house. It is a tangible way to connect to their faith experience. What I might suggest also is to have a few people from a parish or church, if that is your expression, that you have been able to connect with virtually, to actually come periodically to your home or to a place where you can set those boundaries, again, as you're trying to figure out that new normal, as you're going toward that goal, and push back isolation and say, I would love it if 2 or 3 people would come and we could do a reading or a study, or just simply sit down and have tea. All of these things are very small, but if we want to be able to beat back isolation, that fear of things are changing, and again, I feel as if I have lost connection to things that are meaningful to me, we must empower ourselves to know that we can take small, intentional, and personal steps. I suggest material steps that you can feel and touch and send to be able to connect with others. By you being the leader in this regard, you can maintain that even though something has changed, the relationships that you desire should not, or the relationship that you desire need to change on a specific way that you can maintain connections. If you find your voice and you find a tangible pathway to send it out, that connection and reconnection is possible. And research shows that it is very edifying for the spirit, for the mind, for the heart. Whenever we send something out, whenever we receive something, we can hold on to it, we can smell it, we can read it, we can feel it. It brings joy to our hearts. It helps us, like a child that is holding a blanket or a loving stuffy, that everything is safe, that you are loved, and that you're okay. Let us rebuild those connections, my friends. Much love to you, and I look forward to talking to you again in the coming month. And we will talk about how particular patients that come over to Massey have shown their resilience by bringing things with them into their treatment bays that are a source of meaning, and how you can also reclaim or claim some things that you can set up a space and make it your own, especially in a place that can sometimes seem distant or too clinical. Blessings to you. Until next time.